Students, this is Nurnberg. Hey students, we're in the German National Museum, and this is the oldest still existing globe of the world ever made. This is a pre-Christopher Columbus globe. There is Europe right there. Let's see if I can zoom it in properly so you can see Europe. And then we'll back out and we'll come around and look. There's just a big ocean where America would be. But for those of you who insist on thinking that Columbus proved the world was round, here is proof that people understood the world to be round prior to Columbus. Thank you. So what are we looking for?
Just wait up.
Okay.
Various things will happen.
You can tell your students it's noon.
The top, above the ball is the moon.
Oh, the ball's moon. Oh, I see. So it's showing a phase. Okay, we got a phase of the moon.
It is accurate. So, the trumpeters are now playing a fanfare, so to speak. You see that? The trumpet goes up and down.
Uh-huh. So the ball represents the moon phase. Yes, because I've been seeing the moon in the morning, and it's at a waning crescent. Oh.
Now we got the drummer.
Up on the top, yeah.
Gesundheit.
The next is the guy with the bell. If I remember rightly. Yeah. And now we get the main attraction. The guy in the middle is the emperor.
Uh-huh.
Now we get the electors.
Very cool. 15, what's the
1509.
15, well duh, it says it right there. Okay, we're in Nuremberg. That's the church with the clock you saw before. This is a large fountain in the central market. It has got all figures of all sorts of important people, largely religious figures, kings, bishops, and so forth. But over here, we have the guy looking up, that's Ptolemy. And then we'll go around and, alright, and then over here, this one represents him, Aristotle. So, people we know. This is where they published Copernicus's book on the revolution of the heavenly spheres. Where that book was printed, right here.
Came from a small village in Upper Franconia, went to Basel and learnt the printing trade from his cousin, Heinrich Petri. Came at the beginning of the 1520s then to Nurnberg, set up his own printing business. We don't quite know why, but he was probably trying to pick up the business from Kohlberger, the man who printed the Nuremberg Chronicle, who'd gone bankrupt. He died and his firm had gone bankrupt. Petraeus became the most important scientific publisher in the first half of the 16th century in Europe. If he hadn't published De Revolutionibus, he would still be the most important scientific publisher. He printed and published a lot of books on astrology, astronomy, mathematics, music. He's one of the earliest music publishers. He's a very, very important figure in the history of publishing and in the history of scientific publishing. And Rheticus brought the manuscript of De Revolutionibus from Bamberg to Nurnberg to be printed by Johannes Petreius.
The student's Rheticus is Copernicus's student, who.
And this is in 1542, 1543, and it was published here. It was printed and published here in this house in 1543. There's no exact publication date; they didn't exist in those days, but it's about May 1543. The Revolution was finished and published here in this house. Probably about 500 to 600 copies printed of the first edition. The second edition, because Petreius died, the second edition, and he had no heirs to inherit his business. The second edition was published by his cousin Petri in Basel in 1566. So the whole of the business. He's also the Northern European publisher of Cardano, whose Ars Magna is the first modern algebra book. He published the first German edition of Vitruvius's De Architectura, which he commissioned the translation of, the German translation. So Petreius is a very, very important scientific publisher. He's not just the De Revolutionibus, but of course, having printed and published the book was created in this house. So it makes him sort of unique in the history of science.
Right.
There's no more important book than De Revolutionibus.
No, yeah.
Video is on, we're recording.
Hi, greetings from Bamberg Observatory in Germany. Okay. That's good. I'm going to take a few minutes to address a few specific student questions. Okay, first out of the box is one that a number of students have asked, and that is, what makes the Earth go around the Sun if there's, in the Copernican theory, if there's no prime mover? I can answer that very easily, because the answer is, not sure. Because when Copernicus proposed his theory, he did not propose an explanation for what makes the Earth go around the Sun. So one student said, basically, what makes the Earth go around the Sun? You just say it does go around the Sun. You don't say why it goes around the Sun. You're speaking to Copernicus. And that's absolutely right. Copernicus says the Earth does go around the Sun. He does not say why it goes around the Sun. So at the moment we do not, there's no prime mover or something like that to make it work. So at the moment we're kind of stuck. We don't have an answer for why the Earth goes around the Sun in the Copernican theory. Another question a student asked is on the issue of Galileo and the telescope. Galileo did not invent the telescope, and nobody is sure exactly who did, or if a single person did invent it. What we know is that a patent was applied for on a telescope design in like 1608 in Holland. And at that point, the telescope was more like a toy, like a kid's toy. Had very low magnification, be more of a plaything, not something that was very useful. Galileo is one of the people who put a lot of effort into seriously improving the telescope, so that instead of maybe magnifying by 3 times, it would magnify by 30 times and still produce a pretty clear field of view. Galileo was always looking for a good way to make some money, and one way to make money is to make nice telescopes and sell them to rich people. And that's one of the things that he was able to do. And he was a very skilled person, and he did a very good job at making excellent telescopes.